ago I saw a YouTube clip with that as a title, and I was like, I'm just not going to click on it. Like,
what, it was the Joe Rogan one?
Yeah. I was like, let's be real. Galvao right deserves that title because he's done it in both gi and no gi. You can turn around and say best no gi grappler, but grappler as a general term, it's a bit questionable.
Yeah, I mean,
Could he do it in a judo rule set? Could he do it in? Did he beat Pat Downey?
do you know what? Speaking of Pat Downey, did you see him for the weekend?
No.
Yes. So it's been going around actually. I think Cameron posted it. We might as well just carry on rolling on this now. Episode 44. Grapplers Candy, go check us out.
What an intro.
Basically a video of, I was really happy when I saw this, to be honest, because Pat Downey's in rash guard and spats, and he just picks this dude up and bombs him on the floor. And I was like, I watched it a couple of times, but that's cool, like Pat Downey's not afraid to do takedowns now because he knows some grappling. And then I think Tomo is in the comments and he's like, I've watched this 10 times and still have no idea how he managed to stand up without posting his hand on the mat. And then you're like, wow. So you go back and watch it again and he gets up without putting his hands on the mat.
Slams.
And I'm going to do some...
Do you know what I think it is? See his leg that's
he
off
raises up on his knee, doesn't he?
Yeah, he comes up, and then I think with his opponent being so stiff with the half guard, that kind of almost helps.
It's a nice slam, isn't it? Let's just this is quick editing on if you're not going to go and watch it on just the first bit with him getting up. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. That.
Yeah.
It sort of hits in and turns over as well.
The thing that I really like about it is these wrestlers versus grapplers or jiu-jitsu player matches that were happening in like last year and the year before. I was kind of quite excited to see it because just to see what was happening. But I didn't really like it as well at the same time because although the wrestling guy could get a takedown, you don't want it because you don't want to be on the ground with them.
Yeah.
Now this is what I want to see, like a really high level wrestler learning some grappling and not being afraid to go to the mat.
Yeah.
Because they know they're not afraid of the positions quite as much, and they know they can be really dominant with the positions.
Yeah.
This is really what I want to see. Like I'm glad a high level wrestler's taken the dive and been like, right, I'm going to learn some jiu-jitsu properly and have a proper crack at this.
Do you know what? Like thinking of that as well, because like getting someone who's a high level grappler versus a high level wrestler who's learned a little bit of grappling, it's not going to be a true level of sort of what's better or even what academy is better, depending on when they've taught.
Yeah.
So just thinking that it'd be interesting to see, say Atos took Dake and Danaher took what was his name left me now? Burrows. And they had a 6-month camp to learn submissions and within a certain rule set. And at the end of that 6 months, they had a match.
Do you know why I think that wouldn't work, just only on face value thinking about it? Would they just revert to wrestling each other? Because the difference is when a wrestler plays a jiu-jitsu player is the jiu-jitsu player wants to be on the ground.
True. But then you've seen it in certain matches where, you know, the wrestling kind of almost kind of becomes null because they can't take each other down or they know what the risks are for going in for certain takedowns. So it might be like, you might see one play guard for a little bit, or one almost play a little bit of possum to get taken down to find that submission.
Yeah, would be good. Because a lot of the takedowns in wrestling, when you're watching it, like they leave themselves exposed with the neck for guillotines and things like this. So I don't know, it's exciting.
Yeah,
it's really exciting to see because the work ethic of these wrestlers and the level of skill. These guys who are like winning the NCAAs and going to even just being on the Olympic trial team for the American guys. Like we talked about it before, the standard's really high, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it'd be great to see like what they can do. Can Pat Downey qualify for ADCC? Because just with a little bit of training, albeit at the down air death squad, Nicky Rod managed to come in and wreck the division with some average wrestling. Good to have, like better than average wrestling, granted, but like just actual commitment to wrestling.
Yeah.
Versus somebody who's got top skill.
True. Like, and it sort of kind of goes to show as well the that athleticism and aggression and commitment kind of outweigh skill set.
Yeah.
Like, being completely honest, Nicky Rod wasn't the most talented player in that pool. Where he won, did he win the division or get silver? He got silver in Canaan.
Yeah, what's the point?
But his level of athleticism and the degree of aggression that he's shown, and not necessarily commitment to training, I meant, but commitment to the techniques he wants to pull off.
Yeah.
So almost not going into a takedown with a half effort or going into a club with I want to pull him. Like going in and trying to put their face through the mat with a club, because as they pop back up, you got to get an entry for the takedown.
Yeah, and that style of wrestling definitely suits ADCC rule sets better,
Yeah.
and similar sorts of rule sets. And that's where I think guys like this can come over, and within the 2-year time frame that it is between ADCC. Like, I'm excited to see if Pat Downey can make a good run on this, and have a good run at ADCC and open the door for more people to come in and do it. Because realistically, like, unless you are Jordan Burroughs or Kyle Dake, Kyle Schneider, basically at the top of your weight bracket, there's no money to be made in wrestling, and there's not a lot of money to be made in jiu-jitsu, but it's a smart play by Pat Downey, because there is more money to be made in jiu-jitsu than there is in wrestling, and the greater longevity of your career, because basically by the time you're done with college, America, like unless you are on the Olympic team and you're pushing for world championships and stuff, like how are you making your money? You're going to go and become a coach at a high school or a college probably, so.
And you can probably earn more competing in jiu-jitsu and grappling tournaments through sponsorships, and even coaching wrestling at a grappling school. You can probably potentially earn more than teaching in a high school or college.
And who's got like, if you just look at jiu-jitsu guys, like think about the value of not only just like work ethic but skill set. Who's got a higher degree in wrestling pedigree than any of these world championship Olympic athlete level wrestlers?
Yeah.
I think what that can bring to the sport.
Oh, definitely.
Because we talked about before that level of aggression and athleticism of wrestling, in my opinion, probably is. I can't really think of a sport that matches it in terms of athleticism. Jiu-jitsu certainly doesn't.
I'd probably say judo prior to the no leg grab rule change.
That's the problem with judo, isn't it?
Yeah.
And wrestling does have its similar issues, but I'm just excited. I'm excited to watch some wrestlers back up.
Definitely. And like you say, like, it just provides a new lease of life. And I think we had the conversation a while back prior to the podcast starting about styles going in circles, and with these new wrestlers coming into the sport, could this be the next cycle where top heavy pressure, low passing, aggression, gnarliness coming back into the sport?
Yeah.
Now that the whole leg lock thing's been rinsed, repeated, and almost now everyone knows how to defend it effectively, we are seeing less leg lock finishes.
I think it's that
compared
to innovate it within the
Yeah.
game, isn't it? So those good leg lockers are still going to have it, and it's going to be around. And it's how can you implement it around everything else now?
Yeah.
And we talked about it before, like having this wrestling coming back in a new wave. Like wrestling doesn't go out of fashion.
No.
If you can control with dominant wrestling and control the positions, like everybody always talks about, position and control over submission. Like I was thinking about this before when you were just talking. What limited number of submissions could you have? Like you could have a choke, an arm lock, and a leg lock, and be really good at 3, but have amazing wrestling. Like you're going to be a very dangerous player.
Yeah.
If you've got the passing in there as well.
To be fair, having one or two really good submissions, like someone come over from wrestling, I'd possibly argue focus on head and arm chokes, darts, anacondas, head and arm triangles.
And a lot of that comes off having a SmackDown game.
That's it.
So, you know, typical wrestling setup, if they're not diving in for single legs, is SmackDown back take.
Yeah.
Which plays in perfectly for all of that, because then you're in a wrestler's ride position, you've got easy access or better access to the back, rear naked chokes.
And the forearms are going to be more conditioned to the wear and tear of maintaining that grip, turning somebody over and not having the forearms and the hands burn out.
Yeah. Do you think I imagine a lot of these wrestlers that are going to come over are going to focus primarily on no-gi.
Yeah.
I mean, if that is the focus, is to come in and make some money and make a name for themselves in the sport, where do you put a value on that for them doing gi?
Sort of in what sense? Sort of
like if you want to come in and just make a big name for yourself in no-gi grappling, how beneficial would you say it is for somebody who's got almost no experience in jiu-jitsu either to learn gi simultaneously as trying to get a good no-gi game?
Do you know what?
And I'm talking about like high-level athlete as well, not just general population, because obviously it's beneficial to do both.
Yeah, I always think that gi makes you more aware of your defensive flaws because you don't have the lack of friction to escape. So you essentially have to be tighter in the gi. You can't just leave something hanging in the hopes that they go for that to then go for something else because it can clamp down.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that I know I do when I play no-gi. I'll dangle a carrot so that you take that to then come out another way to a nicer position.
Yeah.
But if I did the same thing in the gi, they grab the cloth, I can't get my arm out or my leg out or whatever it is, I'm in trouble. So it makes you think differently about the way you move in the sport.
Yeah, I agree. And like early on in no-gi matches, when there is still a lot of friction, like you might not get away with that stuff that you're drilling 10 rounds in when everyone's sweaty and the mats are really slippery. Yeah, totally agree. Like, gets you to slow down and be more methodical with the defence.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can get out of exposition in the gi slowly with method and technique rather than just exploding up out of it. And that's not to say that having that explosive power is not an attribute. Yeah. But can you do it with technique as well? It's like that whole thing about, and I've talked about this before on here about being too strong when you're starting off. Like, it can be a big hindrance. Yeah. Like, you're letting your physical attributes get in the way of your technique development. So it's when they can come in and be humble enough to not be the guy who's winning all the time by being explosive and using that athleticism. Because it's a hard mindset to switch, because if you think about what wrestling is, it's we're going to go head to head and who's the most athletic and who's the quickest. And there is
when I was in America and did a little bit of time within a wrestling gym, there is a pecking order on the mat and you're fighting to climb that pecking order. It's almost like a watered down version of what Yoel Romero described on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he went feeding him steroids and beat.
But I think within that though as well, there is a lesson to be learned with them putting the gi on and almost taking that hit to the ego and developing a bit more resilience. Like, I'm not saying they're not going to be resilient athletes, but having to take that knock and drop down the pecking order and have the resilience to climb back up again is only going to transfer over to no-gi even more, because trying to escape from something when you're pretty deep in it in the gi is much more difficult than in no-gi. Yeah. So it's just going to develop that strong mindset, I think.
That have you seen the match with Pat Downey and Gordon Ryan?
Yeah.
I don't know whether he popped his shoulder or cranked his neck or something like that, but he had him in like a full Nelson or a half Nelson position, didn't he? I don't want to say he quit, but it appeared that he kind of quit and gave up when he had his back and he was really struggling to get out. And Golden Ryan really wasn't, it was like any black belt versus a white belt.
Yeah.
If they're a good athletic white belt, he was going to win all the time when it came to the jiu-jitsu portion of it. But like, I was really surprised to see him quit. It appeared that he quit from not a lot.
But I guess if you're not used to being in that position and knowing how to escape and not knowing where the escape is, because back control in wrestling is hips to the floor and you sprawl out and you spread out. Now, having someone control your back in the jiu-jitsu way as a wrestler is a very alien concept, and if you're unsure of how to get out, you may think, do you know what, I'm just going to take back the bullet and
That's
go
what
with
I'm
it.
saying, so that confirms that point that you were talking about even more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like getting used to being in that uncomfortable position. Because everyone's got that story from when they first started doing jiu-jitsu where that one guy, like, he just fucking mauled me on the mats and I couldn't get up and he wouldn't let me. I've got that story. The guy wasn't doing anything to me and I was just panicking underneath.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to get off, I want to get off. He was like, I'm not doing anything to you, figure your way out. And you just panic, don't you?
Yeah.
So like, agree, like getting yourself in that position more and being, it's that cliche, isn't it? Be uncomfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. But more so, it's just exposure therapy. Like, put yourself in that position 7 times a week in the gym. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
And that transfers over into like everything outside of the gym as well. Like, that's why training jiu-jitsu is really good. Like, you put yourself in a shitty, uncomfortable position, feeling physically incapable of breaking out of the position, and like mentally get yourself into a spot where you can think and bring your breathing down and think your way out of the position rather than stressing and panicking and hyperventilating.
It's like a good friend of mine, Rick Moylan, like a mentor of mine as well, is he has a model that kind of talks about that. And it's like in the middle of it is your decision, and you can either decide short-term pain, which is endure the position and try and figure out, to then get long-term pleasure, which will be next time you're there, you've got a better way to escape and you're gonna essentially endure being uncomfortable for a lot shorter period, or develop the defence that nobody can get you there again. Or you can choose short-term pleasure, which is quitting there, and you're going to get long-term pain, which is when you end up back in there, you're not going to know how to get out, or you're not going to have that resilience to endure what's going on there.
Yeah, and that's a good lesson for like a white belt starting the sport, or people who are like still within that first 12 months. If you've got good training partners, like nobody's trying to hurt you on the mats. Like, play it for the long game. Think, I need to figure my way out of this position, because if I just hit the quit button every time, it gets a little bit uncomfortable. I'm never going to develop one, the resilience, but 2, a pathway out of this. And what happens when somebody gets me in that position and they're not going to let go unless I quit?
Yeah. And then also, you're going to end up losing training partners willing to train with you, because nobody enjoys rolling with that person who, when they can't find a way out, they don't do anything. Like they have a tap and then try to start again, or don't try to figure it out. Like, even if you do, like, say you do tap to the position, but then the short-term pain decision could be, I'm going to ask them how to get out there, because you're almost accepting that you're not sure what to do and taking that little knock on your pride and ego to get an answer for it. So you may have opted for the easier way to get out of the position to start again, but you're almost like taking the knock to your pride and ego to be like, no, I want to ask how to get out of here. So then that can sort of translate there as well. There's many ways to get around it, but don't just give up and not try to develop that skill set.
Yeah, and here's a good like practical real world application of this. More advanced guy gets you back. Don't just turn around and say, I don't know how to get out of this, will you show me? Like, have a go first.
Yeah.
Like if the guy is more like considerably more advanced than you as well. They're probably going to hang out there for a minute and let you have a play around. So have a play around, like, what can I do with the legs? Oh, that gave up my neck. What can I do with the arms? Maybe you'll figure something out. And then after you've tried for 20, 30 seconds, turn around, I don't know what to do. Can you show me what to do here?
Yeah.
And so I just got my hand here, pull it over the top, and now you're out, and then you can go again until you get caught on the back again.
Yeah.
But don't ask too early.
No, yeah, don't ask, yeah. And like I say, don't tap too early then to stay with that. But also as well, if you are with somebody who's a bit more advanced than you, and after you've asked them how to get out and they've guided you through it, put yourself back in there, ask them, can we start again? Or, like what I do to people when I thought I do this, I'm like, you've escaped, now we're going to go back there and you're going to do it again. And then you're going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again.
Do you tell them that, or do you just do it to them?
No, I tell them.
Alright, you're nice to them.
But sometimes it depends, to be fair, because then if I notice that, say, I've told them to go back to it and start again, I'll then, if I notice that they're sort of not quite grasping it, I'll guide them out, but then I'll transition back there in a bit of a heavy way.
Yeah, it's like, right, well done, you just got out the back. Let's roll a bit. Oh, I've got you back again. Can you remember what I just told you? Hey, well done, it's working. Here's some live reps.
Yeah.
Oh no, I completely lost my train of thought then. What were you just saying?
It's just about that sort of.
No, I don't know what I was going to say. I thought you were going to say, like, don't be the dickhead who the guy shows you how to get out of the technique, and then you go, nice one, mate, and then just fucking jump on an armbar. Because that happens.
That does happen, and again, it has happened to me. But
like start grinding their elbow into your face, like,
yeah.
Come on.
But then I always look at that as, oh, it's an invitation to play like that, is it? And not gonna lie, if you've had to talk somebody out of a position and they've done something like that, you can almost feel when that they're gonna attack something fast.
Yeah.
So you can almost be like, okay, I left me out here, they're going to jump on this, so I'm just going to hitchhike her out of it, wrap around, and then they're going to get the shoulder of doom and the shot in the jaw.
if you're the top person and you start grinding your elbow into the face, that's a fucking green light that you're going to get it on the receiving end.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the level is, 2 white belts.
And even I can be say, if you start posting on someone's face, like on the nose, like under the chin, I'm like, okay, yeah. But if you start going knuckles around here or posting around the nose and face, that is green light for shin across jaw.
What about fingers in the eye? What if they've come, I'm a king of the streets, I did Krav Maga for 2 weeks. You can't hold me in any side control. Eye poke.
Face mask.
Face mask.
Like a genuine face mask, because of, if you've gone to put me in the eye, I'm gonna face mask you, and it's gonna be horrendous. And almost before you tap, let go to an armbar, go back to it, face mask again, let it come tapping. Yeah.
So like the waterboarding method, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, if you're gonna be that, if you're gonna show that level of sort of, I'm gonna be PC with it and level of ignorance. To be like, oh well, if I start biting your hair, and or even just don't even say what I do, but then start pushing eye sockets, there may be a rolled elbow across to isolate the firearm as well.
I don't think I've read anybody bite me or eye poke me.
I've not yet.
I've had the elbow or the hand in the face is like the one.
Yeah.
And it's annoying as well because like you let them pass the guard. Oh, you're in side control, well done, let's see what you can do. Elbow in the face. This is not what we're doing.
No.
Let's get a roll, switch you over, and then you can get because like, and it goes 2 ways, doesn't it? Because like you can spot them on the reverse end of that, and then put an elbow in the face, and it'll either go 1 or 2 ways. They'll go, shit, I didn't realise that's what that felt like.
Yeah.
Or they're a psychopath, and then they bite down on their gun guard, and then enjoy it and try and come back at you even harder. And I think at that point, it's worth having a conversation like, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
To be fair, like, I do, when I'm teaching, I do make it quite clear of match your opponent's intensity, but if you do want a gnarly round, either have the conversation beforehand, or after a bit of time and getting to know your training partners better, you know the ones that you can have them cans around with, and then also have the sort of social awareness or social intelligence to be like, okay, say me and you roll, and every time we roll it's full tilt, really sort of competition style rolling where we're kind of like, we will be a bit gnarly with each other, but respectably gnarlier. But then one day, I come in and kind of like exhausted, a little bit beat up.
That's my time to fuck you up, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. But then you sort of come in, we start rolling, and you feel that my intensity is not there. You have that awareness to be like, I'm going to match this level. I might be heavy with pressure, but I'm not going to use the typical tactics that I would use in a competition.
And to be fair as well, like, if that is the case, you know, if you're on that level of training with one of your training partners, you know them well enough that you're probably good mates. Yeah. And you're probably going to, like, if you walk in, it's like, fucked. You're not going to kill each other, right? No. I think there's 3 levels of, like, that sort of match. One of them's and this is the least preferable one, it's like, have you ever, especially starting off when you're a little bit earlier in it, there's that one guy always that's like, this is going to be a fight. Whenever we roll it, this is going to be a fight. Yeah. And I feel like I'm fighting for my life here. And he feels the same because we've got, and I don't know where that starts off, but it's up to both of you to diffuse it or accept it. Yeah. If that's what you both enjoy doing. But the second one, like you said, is that competition style rolling, which is great because like you're putting the pressure on, but it's respectful. Yeah. And it's not playful, but like you're simulating because you're probably competing a lot as well. And then the third one's where you know the guy really well, like you really good training partners, and like you're just going to be a knobhead to them. If you get them in a bad position, you're going to do something really knobhead to them, like grind your elbow in their ear or shin across face or something like that. Just being an absolute prick.
Do you know what would do that with my partner's little brother, and he does give it back, but I'll sit on his chest and sort of like just sort of go heavier as he moves out, and yeah, he gives it as good as he gets, and I'm kind of like, yeah, creating a monster here.
Yeah, just to clarify as well, like he's not 5 years old.
Oh yeah, no, he's 18 now, and
strong.
Do you know what? Since last time you saw him, he's put on more size.
I don't know what he's eating, but like between the last time I saw him and the most recent time I saw him, he was bigger. Yeah. So if he's gone bigger again,
he's got like leaner and more solid. Bastard. And
what's he weighing?
85, but he looks solid now here.
I'm gonna have to put it on next time, aren't I?
Do you know what? Yeah, but last time we rolled, I did put it on him a bit.
I wonder, right, I'm coming for you. 100 kilos in. To be fair, you probably look bigger than me as well if you're in decent shape at 85.
Do you know what? We did like a side by side, and I was like, he's looking bigger than me, he's looking broader than me. And I'm like, yeah, I've got like over 15 kilos on him, and he's like, I'm trying to have to angle him a little bit. I'm like, get the right light in, stand over there in the shade, mate.
That's the difference between actually having muscle. Oh, yeah, right, well done to you. You managed to get a side complex. I don't know, that's a good place to end there.
Yeah, that's it. Make sure you make sure you hit us up on social media. Bonafide PT, coached by Sai. We are the Grapplers Academy. Hit us up on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere else. This is going to be out in audio format in the usual places, and make sure you check out the techniques and let us know what you want to see.
Yeah, if you want to see a side page on the social medias, that's the Mitchell Brothers and Grappling as well. That seems to be a recurring theme over the last couple of weeks. You can blame Jerry for that one initially, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I won't tell you what else you've been called because it was quite hurtful to me.
Not to me.
It was the Michelin Brothers. Again, even more to be said for losing weight, so fuck you.
See you next week, guys.